Pharmacist Ben.
That would be me. What's going on, Mr. AJ?
I gotta,
Yeah.
I gotta get a hold of that. I gotta look back at our old shows.
Yeah.
Because I'm very interested to know if that woman that was from your old neighborhood. I need to know.
From my wait, say that again? A woman from my old neighborhood?
There was a woman that came on, and she lived in some part of Jersey that you were from.
A long time ago?
You mentioned to her that the people that you knew some people in common, and you said, yeah, what about tell them that you know Benji Fuchs.
Benji Fuchs.
Wait
a minute. I don't remember this. Was I around?
Yeah, you were helping a woman, and she's from somewhere in Jersey where you used to live.
I vaguely remember, and I said, asking if they remember Benji.
Yeah. That was a long time ago, so I gotta see.
Yeah, I know. That wasn't that long ago when she came on and we were talking.
Well, I mean, a long time ago since they were calling you a nickname like that. That's
a long time ago. Yeah. Listen, guy, AJ, and everybody listening, life goes by so fast, man. Just take care of yourself. You don't want to be 65 and all falling apart. I talk to people in their early I'm 65. I talk to people in their early 60s all the time who are just falling apart. You don't want that to be you. We get to be 100, even longer, if we do it right. There's so many things, and the supplements are important, but it's a whole lifestyle thing. Somebody asked me today. I got a call from a gal, and I'll read it. First, she texted me, then she called me, and she says. She goes, geez. Okay, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know what you recommend for my friend who's also part of longevity. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. Here's what it is. And she gave me the whole nonsensical doctor BS that they give you. C50.911 malignant neoplasm of USP site of right female breast. You don't need to know any of that stuff. She's got breast cancer. So then she says, as of now, she's taking Z-Radical, Tangy tablets, muscadine, and some selenium. I would like to know the quantity that she should be taking. What else to recommend? She's 56 and weighs 175 pounds. Thank you so much for that. But you're not going to supplement breast cancer away. But supplements are important. They're critical. You can't do it from food. But you got to change your whole life. So I started talking about this to this gal. I said, look, you don't just have breast cancer. What else does she have? Oh, well, she's healthy. She eats well. She weighs 100. She's 5'4", weighs 175 pounds. Come on.
Couple pounds.
Come on. So what does that tell you? Number one, it tells you got metabolic syndrome. So immediately you got to deal with blood sugar issues. We know histamine and insulin all go together and they affect cancer. So you got to deal with blood sugar issues, dysglycemia. You got to change the way you eat. And she's this lady who thinks she's eating well. And I'm not knocking her or anything, but it's just how we are conditioned. She doesn't know there's anything else wrong. The good news is she can correct all of these things and she can change her life. She's also probably likely, when you have blood sugar issues, you likely have some digestive and intestinal and gallbladder things too. You got to work on those. And then, of course, there's all the whole adrenal thyroid things. This is good news because it represents a gold mine of areas that you can work with to improve your health. Are the supplements important? Heck, yes, they're important. But that doesn't mean you're going to muscadine tablets your way to back to being cancer-free. In fact, what she's taken, Z-Radical, Tangy tablets, muscadine, and some selenium. That's not even scratching the surface. Where's her Mighty 90? Where's she going to get her Mighty 90 from? Not from Z-Radical. Not from Tangy. She'll get some from the Tangy for sure, but not the muscadine. And she'll get selenium. Where's the essential fatty acids coming from?
Well, there's some EFA apparently in the seaweed. The fucoidin. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
But listen, I don't mean to make light of it, but you are 100% right. The nutrition's a part.
It's a key part. It's a critical part. But it's a lifestyle. And the lifestyle presumes something. To change your lifestyle presumes something. It presumes that you're motivated, that you want it. And that's really the most important thing. I talk to people all the time. And if I even get a sense that, oh, it's too expensive. Oh, my doctor told me this and this is going to interfere with my drug. Look, I don't even bother. You got to be so motivated. You got to be so interested. You got to want it so badly. It's like you want air. You got to want your good health like you want air. Like if you had emphysema and you couldn't breathe, that's the kind of motivation you have to completely turn your life around. And it's really a rare 67 or 7-year-old person that wants to do it. It's mostly young people that do it. But if you do it, the rewards are so great. Think about it. If you're 65, you got 40 years left, 35, 40 years. That's a lot of living. That's another 50% of your life. Peter Attia, you know who Peter Attia is? He was on 60 Minutes. He's a longevity doctor. I don't always agree with everything he says, but he's got some good stuff to say. He says, at age 75, you fall off a cliff. I'm 65. It ain't that long. And you better believe I ain't falling off a cliff. You better believe I'm not going to fall off a cliff. I'm going to do what it takes. Everybody do what it takes if they want. And that's why we're here.
Interestingly, before we get into the immense amount of questions that I have for you, I had Yolanda Brown. Go ahead. If you need to take that.
No, I'm not going to take it.
Okay. I had Yolanda Brown on the show on Friday.
Yeah.
Women wear makeup, so I can't really tell. She may have makeup, but between you and her, and I can look at hands, and there's not a wrinkle around. Yeah. You don't have a wrinkle. There's nothing going on. What? Is it? So it's just the lifestyle. It's.
Well, I've been taking care of my nutritional needs, my diet needs, and meditating, and practicing mind power, and keeping my mind and my emotions in check, and at least controlling them a little bit. They're not always in check, but being cognizant of that dimension of my livingness, my beingness, since I was in my 20s. Even earlier, really. I started jogging when I was 12 years old. I started working out, lifting weights and jogging. So it's been a lifestyle, and that's how you have to look at it. It's a lot harder if you've never done it before, and now you're in your 50s or 60s, but it can be done. And we'll help you. The beautiful thing about longevity, not the supplements. Supplements are great. That's not the beautiful thing about longevity. You know what the beautiful thing about longevity is? It's you, you and me, and all the community. It's a community. We help each other. And everybody on this call, even if you're not a healthcare professional or you don't know about health, just because you're on this call, you know more than the average person. You know more than your neighbors. So we can all do this together. And that's really the beautiful thing about longevity. Yeah, it's a business. You can make some money. Some people are making a lot of money. Some people are making a little money. Some people aren't making money at all. But it's a community of people that are like-minded, that want to make a difference in their lives and in their friends and families' lives using these strategies and using these ideas that, God bless Dr. Wallach, he started. And people like myself and you and Rebecca and Cheryl and Paul and Dr. Glidden and, all the people that are involved, Joanne Conaway, I'm sure I'm forgetting to mention some people. But we're all here together. We're all here to make a difference. We're all here to make improve people's lives. And you know what else? When you change somebody's life in terms of their skin, their diseases, there's nothing more rewarding. And I go on George Norian, he always asks me, what's the best, this is always, but sometimes he'll say, what's the most interesting story? What's the most inspiring story? And I don't even remember because there's so many of them. There's so many stories. And I'm a healthcare professional. I get a lot of the questions, but AJ, you have stories too. Rebecca has stories. I'm off my meds. I lost all kinds of weight. I'm not in chronic pain anymore. My arthritis has gone away. Cancer. What?
Doctor said they can't find cancer.
Doctor said they can't find cancer. Yes, exactly. Yes, you heard that correctly. Cancer gone. And that's because the body, for most Americans, present company excluded, but for most Americans, the body's like a dry sponge in terms of its nutritional status. A dry sponge doesn't have any water. So in terms of its nutritional status, most American human bodies are like a dry sponge, which means they're going to suck up water like a dry sponge sucks up water. They're going to notice a difference quickly, and sometimes so significantly that their cancer will go away. And yes, that happens. And I've had it happen with my patients. So I know it happens.
3 or 4 this year.
Hello, anybody listening? You guys listening? This is not made up. This is the real deal here, folks. And I understand the skepticism, and I know present company excluded, of course. People listening on this call aren't skeptical, but there are people probably who are listening tomorrow on Rumble or YouTube, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." You know, on Reddit, after I go on Coast to Coast, oh my God, the people who rip into
Still, they still give you.
rip into me. Oh, I'm a snake oil salesman, and I'm a quack, and oh, he's only a pharmacist. What does he know? And blah 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 blah. The haters, you know, they should see what I see and what you see, AJ. Yeah, I get it. There's going to be, you know, you want to be skeptical. You want to be questioning, not cynical, but skeptical. Scientists are always skeptical. Trust yet verify. Always make sure that you're verifying, but trust. There's so much evidence here that what we're talking about can change your life. If you're dealing with a chronic disease, it can reverse your chronic disease, not cure, reverse your chronic disease. You can heal better.
Okay.
It's possible. It's more than supplements, but supplements are a key part of it. Diet, exercise, breathing, meditation, spirituality, relaxation, sleep, community, friends, all of these. It's an entire lifestyle milieu. It's an entire environment, a lifestyle environment. And nutritional supplementation is a key part of it.
Pharmacist Ben, speaking of the word milieu and environment, did you see what our title of the show is today?
Yes, it said glycation, coagulation, and something else.
Inflammation. Do you know where I got that from?
No, I didn't say that. I said inflammation. Did I say glycation? Inflammation,
glycation, inflammation, and coagulation.
Okay, I didn't know I said glycation, but I do remember saying those three. That's good though. Glycation. You wrote it down, right?
Of course I did. And I replayed the show too with the video.
Okay, good.
You know, I have a woman. She tried to send me an email with her scenario that she's dealing with, but she's got a large cyst in her abdominals. She's got
a cyst in her abdominal. Let's talk about that.
Wait. In addition, she's got, which might paint a picture for you. She's got some growths on the kidney as well, and then poor renal function. Okay,
so growths should always be backtracked to insulin and estrogen. All right, now estrogen is a little trickier. Insulin's easy. The classic sign of disturbances in insulin or insulin resistance or hyperinsulinemia, too much insulin in the blood, are skin tags. Cysts are skin tags that happen inside. Essentially the same thing. Insulin is a growth factor, a growth peptide, a growth hormone, a growth protein, whatever term you want to use. It involves growth. Insulin is keyed into growth. Growth, while it may sound good, you know, growth factors, growth hormone, we want to grow. It's not. Growth is tightly controlled in the body. In fact, the cell, when we talk about growth, we talk about cell growth. That's what we're talking about. Cells growing, dividing, and getting bigger and growing. Cell growth is default. Cells grow by default. It's the stopping of the growth that requires energy. Cells are primed to grow. They'll always grow. It's the stopping. You want the growth to be controlled. It's a balance between growth and not growth. Classic example is the development of a fetus in the womb. Think about it. You got two cells. You got a sperm cell and an egg cell. They hit, and all of a sudden magic happens. And that's, nobody really understands what happens, but you call it magic. So the cells start to divide. And somehow from those two cells that hit each other, the egg and the sperm, you end up with, over the course of weeks and months, billions of cells, maybe trillions of cells, probably trillions of cells. But you can't even get your mind around that number. And those trillions of cells aren't just cells dividing. They're dividing in a shape, even just a finger. Okay, you ever see those pictures of a baby, a fetus in the womb?
Yeah.
And it's got little fingers, little toes.
Yeah.
It's got little ears. little nose, it's got little parts. How do those happen? They happen by the most incredible combination, mind-boggling. You can't even imagine how it happens, but you can just logically make your brain go there, of cells turning on and off. So just take a finger, let's isolate it or reduce it down to a finger. Your cells grow here and they have to stop growing here. Otherwise, they'll keep growing, right? They'll keep growing. Somehow they got to stop growing here. And then they got to grow this way and they got to grow this way. It's a combination of starting and stopping, and all that requires energy, which in turn requires nutrients. So nutrients are responsible for the controlled growth in the body. When we don't have nutrients, things grow out of control. Classic example, of course, is cancer. But cysts and fibroids and skin tags, all of these represent the body growing out of control. The classic growth factor, as I said, is insulin. It makes perfect sense it would be on the kidneys because the kidneys are filtering the blood. All disease is cell disease, and all cell disease is preceded by dirty blood. So growth on the kidney, growth on the abdomen represents cells that are growing out of control. Cells growing out of control are in turn representative of nutritional deficiencies and excess growth factors, specifically insulin. So what do? Number one, lower your blood sugar. Work on metabolic syndrome. Any growths, kidneys, abdominal, skin, anywhere in the body, female reproductive system, ovaries, wherever, any growths need to be regarded as a hyperinsulin condition. Always. Now, estrogen is probably involved there also. That's a little trickier. But the first thing is blood sugar. There's a reason why I talk about the triangle of disease, or now the 2 points of disease all the time, is because not only they're underneath everything else. Remember, this is the fruit. This is the root, right? They're the root. So the reason I talk about all these things is not only because they're the root, but because they're under our control. We can control our insulin. We can control our blood sugar. We can control our digestive health. We have power over that. The medical community will not tell you that, and they have no power over that. They have nothing. They have nothing in their bag of tricks that can do anything. But we can do it. How do you lower your blood sugar? How do you reduce your insulin? You lower your blood sugar. How do you lower your blood sugar?
Stop eating sugar.
It's an eating thing. Yes, it's an eating thing. Now, I said it's easy. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy because, there's addictions. There's life. We eat to cope with life. And we're hardwired to have certain desires that we can't get, that is difficult to override, but it still can be done. One of the best ways to do it if you have a food issue, an insulin issue, blood sugar issue, is to use nutrients that help your body process sugar. That's why the sweeties is so important. The ultimate niacin is so important. The ultimate microbiome is so important. The osteomag is so important. The ultimate MSM is so important. The ultimate selenium is so important. All of these will help your body process sugar. So combine TMR shake. TMR shake is one of the easiest ways to lower your blood sugars to use the TMR shake. Why? Well, first of all, protein that'll get turned to sugar. So you got to be careful there. But the TMR shake is incredibly satisfying. If you do the TMR shake first thing in the morning and then a teaspoon in the middle of the day and maybe a couple teaspoons at night in some coconut milk or almond milk, unsweetened almond milk, and throw a banana or half a banana in there. You don't need a whole banana, just half a banana. It's like dessert. And it is packed with nutrition. And it's filling. And you're not going to want to eat, or at least you'll have less of a desire to eat the apple pies and the candies and the cakes and whatever the blood sugar spiking foods you want. Just something as simple as that. First thing in the morning, get yourself some flax seeds, grind them up in a coffee grinder, make flaxseed powder, take the flaxseed powder, put it in warm water, or it doesn't have to be warm, any kind of water. I like warm water. And then put a little stevia or honey, some cinnamon, and some clove. It is so filling and so delicious. It has just as much, if you do it right, it has just as much protein as an egg. It has essential fatty acids, has magnesium, has copper, has fiber, is great for your digestive system. And it will kill your craving for Pop-Tarts or toast or whatever, Danishes, whatever thing you want in the first thing in the morning.
You love you some flax seeds.
Love flax seeds. Now,
Yeah.
some people, when they first start using flax seeds, may experience some digestive distress and do a smaller amount. Most people, especially women, by the way, flax seeds help excess estrogen stick to excess estrogen, and actually they stick to excess toxins in the digestive tract. They'll lower your cholesterol. It's soluble fiber. It sticks to things. Yeah.
In the past, you've also mentioned the Fucoid Z for removing estrogen, excess estrogen.
Not removing it, but yeah, I can say removing, helping your body eliminate. Yes, Fucoid Z. It's hard to really wrap your mind around all the multiple benefits of Fucoid Z. Fucoid Z is marketed as an immune booster, but it's so much more than that. It's a blood purifier. It's a wrinkle fighter. It's an anti-arthritic. It is a skin cancer protective. It's macular degeneration protective. The carotenoids will protect your skin. They'll protect your eyes. It's great for leaky gut. It'll patch up a leaky gut or support the patching up of a leaky gut. And it supports immune health on top of everything else. It'll lower your blood sugar. It's anti-diabetic. It's got incredible properties. And it's pretty darn inexpensive for all the things you get. By the way, I like Fucoid Z way better than the Z Radical. Even though everybody talks about the Z Radical, the Fucoid Z is the real. That's for the adults. The Z Radical is for the kids.
I got my hand slapped by
Yolanda?
No, by Dr. Conaway for using some verbiage that you use when you were kind of just like, you know how you talk. You talk like not platitudes, but you're talking, in ways that are easy for everyone to understand.
Okay.
And I tried that with her.
What did you say?
I said, the Fucoid Z has more of the medicine in it. She said, well, it's not medicine.
Oh.
I was like, I said, you know what I mean? I had to backtrack quick. Annie, where'd you go? We were about to call on you. I hope you can hear us. Wyoming Annie is got a question for a client. But while we're waiting,
Tom Chenal posted this on his website. Do we have people from Tom Chenal's room?
Yeah, he always allows me to post.
Okay.
I share it. He's good at anything with if I got a picture of Ben on there.
Is that right?
It's A-OK.
You gotta update that picture. That picture's 15 years old, man.
Well, it still looks like
That's a big switch. I don't look like that anymore. Hi, Annie.
Are you Wyoming, Annie? Can't hear you. Unmute yourself. Let's see if I can help. I can't help, but you have to do it. We don't hear you. Let's see. Did you grant your browser access to your microphone? Are you on a desktop? Yes or no? You're on a tablet. Look on the browser in the top left of the browser. There might be something in blue that says it might look like a little blue camera in the top left of the browser, and you want to click that and allow access to your microphone. In the interim,
let's get some questions because I've been babbling for half an hour. Let's get some questions.
I see. Juan is asking thoughts on hair coloring for both men and women.
What's wrong with your hair? What's wrong with the color of your hair? What's wrong? What color? What do you want to? It's not great for you. It depends. There's non-toxic dyes, but standard dyes are not great. The first medicines, the first drugs were dyes. Dyes were the first medications because they kill things. And they noticed that when they took dyes, they would stain cells. When they first discovered cells, one of the ways they would observe the organelles, the little structures inside, is by staining the cells. Put a dye in the cells, and the organelles would take the dye on it. They became more visible in the microscope. But then they noticed that the dyes were killing things. They were killing cells. So they figured, well, we got something that's going to kill bacteria, kill microbes, and that was the first drug. The first drugs were dyes. The early drugs were dyes. First drug, I think, was aspirin, but some of the early drugs, the first drugs, were dyes. So dyes are medicines. There's a fine line between medicine and poison. And so dyes can be toxic, for sure. There are non-toxic ones that they make now. So if you're going to dye your hair, look for a non-toxic one, but, they're not great. The same stickiness that a dye has for your hair shaft is going to happen for your cells. It's going to stick to your cells. It's going to stick to your tissues. So you got to be careful with dyes, for sure.
On to the song. Christy, can you speak? Is there anything working? Try and refresh your browser. Her question, she's got a friend, age 40, 5'9". He's down to 120 pounds, diagnosed with polymyositis.
Polymyositis, yeah. Well, she doesn't just have polymyositis, that's for sure.
Right. His body rejected the steroids. He's on meds. Rare muscle weakness, inflammatory disease, which is also affecting his heart. Evidently, immune disease attacks the muscle.
Yeah, it's an immune condition.
Yeah. A lot of the symptoms.
It doesn't happen very often. It's pretty rare. But it's an inflammatory condition of the muscles. There's a skin version called dermomyositis. You may have heard of that. Mm-hmm. And poly means many. That's all. Myo means muscle. Itis means inflammation. So you got inflammation in many muscles. That's your disease. You hear what I said here?
Inflammation in many muscle disease.
Inflammation in many muscles. Right now, so we had this. The title of the talk is inflammation, right?
Correct.
Coagulation, inflammation, glycation. So don't you think we should talk about inflammation? Because that's behind everything. Inflammation is how disease is the immediate cause of symptoms.
Christy, you hear us? Christy?
Inflammation is the immediate cause of all symptoms. So obviously we got to figure out inflammation. What the heck is inflammation? Because it's the immediate cause of all symptoms. There are causes upstream. That's the triangle. But the immediate cause of symptoms is always going to be inflammation. Does that make sense? You follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then don't you think we should figure out what inflammation is? Well, inflammation is a protective response. It's defense. That's a very interesting metaphor there. All our diseases are the end result of attack, actually of defense to attack, right? So you get attacked, you get defended, or we get attacked, we defend, we get symptoms. So inflammation is a defensive response, which in turn is a response to some kind of attack. You with me here?
I'm with you. Christy, okay. Are you with us?
Okay.
Say something.
Combine that idea. You got that idea. That makes sense to you, right? I mean,
of course it does.
The only guy I see it. Okay. Combine that with all disease is cell disease, but all cell disease is preceded by dirty blood. So let's do a 1 + 1 = 2. Okay. 1 is all symptoms are caused by inflammation. There's upstream causes, but the immediate cause is inflammation. And it's all about the blood. So what does that tell you? If you're dealing with a defensive response A, and it's all about the blood B, what does that tell you? Logic, not medicine.
Something's getting into his blood, making it dirty, making it...
It's obvious.
Yeah.
Obvious. There's something that's getting into the blood that the body wants to defend itself from. That's it. That's it. This is not complicated. You don't have to know about genetics and molecular mechanisms and go to medical school and have degrees and credentials. Stuff gets into the blood and the body activates a defensive response. And we go out of ease or into dis-ease. So dis-ease, inflammation, dirty blood. That's it. So then we get to the blood part. How do we clean the blood? Well, first of all, how does the blood become dirty? Well, you can inject. You got to be careful what you inject. No matter what some medical professional tells you, you got to be careful what you inject. We'll leave it at that. And other than that, where else does the blood become dirty?
In your pie hole.
Leaky gut. Yes, your pie hole, but leaky gut.
Leaky gut, yeah.
It's all about the gut. Hippocrates said 2,000 years ago that all disease begins in the gut. All disease begins in the digestive system. Right? We've known that for thousands of years. The mechanism is, and it's somewhat counterintuitive because it's not necessarily obvious to people who aren't listening, don't listen to me or listen to these shows, because you say, how is the intestine related to the blood? I know we've talked about it before, but we'll say it again. Intestine is a tube, and on the other side of the tube, you have blood. And there's a reason for that, because that's how nutrients get into the blood. That's what's supposed to happen. So vitamins, minerals, aminos, fatty acids, electrolytes, glucose, various substances in food, they go through the digestive tract, and it's a little more complicated than that, and then they get into the bloodstream. How that happens is actually a little bit more complex, but for our purposes here, then it goes into the blood. That juncture, that connection between the intestine and the blood is the key to everything. Now, when we're healthy, things get into the blood in a controlled fashion. One by one, I'm exaggerating, but they could go in a controlled fashion. The vitamins go into the blood with special cells and receptors, and vitamin C goes into the blood. Some things will leak in, some things will diffuse into the blood. Other things have a special transport mechanism that goes into the blood, but it's very controlled. However, over the course of time, as the impact of lousy food kicks in, as the impact of antibiotics, whether we're taking them intentionally or unintentionally, kick in, as the impact of nutritional deficiencies kick in, as the impact of toxicity and inflammatory molecules in foods kick in, especially fats kick in, eventually the intestine starts to inflame. What is inflammation again?
The defensive response.
Same thing. It's responding to an attack from the wrong kinds of food. Oils, fried oils are one of the worst. Certain hormones, unprocessed hormones, bacterial secretions. There's a lot of things in the intestine. The intestine it's like a sewer. I mean, it has food in it, but it's like mucky. It basically is vomit. It's the same kind of constituency as vomit. Not exactly, but it's the same kind of stuff. It's slimy, it's gooey, it's dirty, it's very complex. And so when the intestine becomes inflamed, that allows stuff from that mucky intestine to get into the blood. That's a major emergency for the body. The blood is very, very, very organized and coherent. It's tightly regulated. It has to have just the right pH and just the right temperature and just the right water level and fluidity and just the right viscosity and just the right amount of solids to liquids. Just everything is perfectly kept pristine, just so. And now you've put a stream of bacteria and bacterial secretions and food particles and immune cells and all kinds of stuff into that gorgeous, beautiful blood that's so tightly regulated. Of course you're going to have a problem. Now, the body is exquisite in its ability to protect itself. So the body will actually surround all that stuff so it doesn't spread. That surrounding process is an example of inflammation. Remember, inflammation is a defensive response. So the body's defending the blood. So you got a defensive response in the intestine. Now you got a defensive response in the blood. One of the ways the blood becomes one of the signs or one of the associated features of this inflamed blood is a sluggishness, a slowing down, And then there's purpose, there's a reason for that, because the body's trying to keep that stuff from spreading. So now the blood doesn't move as effectively, which is a good thing. But if toxicity still comes in, because we don't know, we still keep eating the French fries or whatever it is we're doing, now you've got this stream of toxicity. And I always think of when I was a kid, how Lake Erie, or not Lake Erie, Lake Cuyahoga in Ohio caught fire. And then they realized that there were big pipes coming from the factories that was dumping all the toxins into the river. And so the river caught on fire. The river got flamed. The river became inflamed. Inflammation is a fire. You got a fire in your blood. You got inflammation. It's literally a fire in the blood. I have a book called Fire in the Belly that talks about this whole process, called Fire in Your Belly. And now you got these toxins in the blood. The blood's not moving as effectively. Eventually, the body will dump out those toxins in order to protect the blood. Those toxins get dumped out into the thyroid, into the kidneys, into the soft tissues, into the connective tissue. And now you've got all kinds of dirt in the tissue. And now the body starts attacking the tissue because now the tissue is dirty. And so now the tissue gets inflamed. When it's the muscle becomes inflamed. And now you say, oh, I have inflamed muscles, but I have it in a lot of muscles. I have a lot of inflamed muscles. You go to the doctor, you say, my muscles are inflamed. I got a lot of inflamed muscles. You go, oh, you have polymyositis. And you go, oh my God, polymyositis. What the heck is that? You know, oh, it's Latin. What am I going to do? I got polymyositis. No, you don't. You got inflamed muscles. You got muscles that are being attacked by the immune system. Inflammation and the immune system are two peas in a pod. Inflammation is the calling card of the immune system. You've got an activated immune system. Your body's protecting itself. So what do? You stop the stream of toxicity. Now, your friend, Annie, what did you say your name was? I didn't catch your name. What's the gal's name?
Her name's Christy, but she's Wyoming Annie.
Wyoming Annie. Listen, I don't know how well you know your friend.
He says.
I don't know how well you know your friend, but I can tell you something about your friend. Okay? I don't know how old he is. Did she say how old he was, AJ?
Yeah, 40.
40s. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna do a psychic reading. Your friend, Wyoming Annie, has had digestive issues for a long time. I'm getting this from the ethers. I'm a psychic.
Annie, shake your head yes or no if he's had digestive problems.
For a long time, not just digestive problems. It takes a long time for this to happen. Well, you don't know. Okay, fair enough.
By the way, Annie, she's one of us.
What do you mean?
She's a longevity.
Okay, so you've heard me talk before. So, Annie, ask your friend about his digestive system. We got to stop the stream of toxicity from getting into the bloodstream. That's the job number one. Now, food is always the first thing you want to think of, and that's why food diary is so important, eliminating foods. If you can fast for a couple of days, he's going to feel better. You got to eventually eat again, of course. But if you can fast for a couple of days, he'll feel better. Where'd she go? What happened? That's okay. So for everybody listening, you all can do this. What are you doing there, Wyoming Annie?
No, that was AJ. Don't blame it on her.
Oh, that was AJ. Okay, sorry.
I didn't think she could hear us. So
you patch up the leak. You eliminate problem foods first of all. That's why food diary is so important. And we have, by the way, now have a food diary for free download for all of your distributors, or all of your customers. Distributors out there, have your customers go to the Critical Health News website, criticalhealthnews.com, and download a food diary. Because everybody always asks, how do you do a food diary? So now we got a food diary for you. Okay? So you download the food diary, do the food diary, you start eliminating the foods that cause problems. That's first of all. Second of all, you start patching up a leaky gut. And by the way, this is for all diseases, all of them. You patch up a leaky gut. How do you patch up the leaky gut? Collagen peptides. The Fucoid Z. Now we have a Fucoid Z with collagen. You can use that. Ultimate EFAs. Vitamin A can be very helpful for patching up a leaky gut. I'm not sure if we have a straight vitamin A product. We got vitamin A in a lot of our supplements. Correcting what's called dysbiosis, disturbances in gut bacteria. So using your nightly essence, your ultimate microbiome, getting on the FODMAPs diet, the low FODMAPs diet. Listen, I could go on and on here. I don't want to pound this to you. I don't want to, just pound you with information, but you can see how much power you have.
We have.
Let me just say one more thing. Then you clean the blood, and there's a million ways to do that. The fucoid Z will help clean the blood. The ultimate enzymes will help clean the blood. The nattokinase, which is in the nightly essence, and also the ultimate niacin will help clean the blood. The plant-derived minerals will help clean the blood. So you do everything you do. Ultimate selenium, vitamin C, CFX will help clean the blood. Anything you can do, ultimate MSM, anything you can do to clean the blood. Hydration, water will also help clean the blood. Also, oxygenation will not necessarily clean the blood, but will help improve blood flow, blood movement. Oftentimes, folks who have this condition of dirty blood will also end up with high blood pressure. We talked about that mechanism before. So all of these strategies will help improve blood pressure. That will improve cardiovascular health. That'll improve vascular health, the health of the blood vessels. So all of these strategies are going to make you stronger. They're going to make you healthier. And they'll help reduce the myositis symptoms. And by the way, myositis or polymyositis is just a symptom. It doesn't tell you what's happening. It's just the symptom, the sign. And all of these strategies that we just talked about will help reduce and ultimately eliminate the symptoms. Now, this guy probably has a lot of other health challenges too, but for polymyositis, that's what you do.
Everybody, go to the Critical Health News website, go to the newsletter section, download your copy of the Food Diary by subscribing to the newsletter on criticalhealthnews.com. Also, if you would like a copy of Dr. Conaway's gut restoration protocol, email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. If you need any help for any of these things, email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. Annie, I hope you got that. I took some notes. If you didn't get it, I see your email. I'll respond to your email, and we will get your friend helped out. All right.
Have your friend come on the show next time. I'd love to see him or her.
Good to see you in the flesh. You're always supporting us on YouTube. I'm thrilled to see you.
Thank you, Wyoming Annie.
Thank you. All right. So now, in the same vein of everything, Pharmacist Ben, I don't want you to get, bored one day and don't want to join me anymore. But, people have the same questions. Hi, I tried a lot of naturals, but nothing worked. She's psoriasis. Started our favorite product, Pharmacist Ben. Do you know what that one is?
Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
No. Our favorite pharmaceutical has a great commercial.
Dupixent, Stelara.
No, nothing is everything. She's on the Skyrizi. And then they got a great commercial.
I really want to talk to a doctor who prescribes Skyrizi for psoriasis.
Okay, and she said
I really want to talk to a doctor about that.
She said she caused in her a fungal infection, and it's chronic. Anything to cure it naturally. This is so
fungal infection. I don't know how. Would the Skyrizi cause a fungal infection? Could have been. It knocks out your immune system. That could have been.
She got a fungal infection upon using it.
All right. Well, a topical on the skin.
It doesn't say.
All right. Psoriasis. Remember, all these illnesses are all the same thing. They're all different manifestations of the same physiologic breakdown. So it's all about the blood, right? It's all inflammation, right? That's really the only two things you really got to know. It's all about the blood and it's all inflammatory. And inflammatory means defense. So stuff is getting into the blood and it's getting distributed through the body, and the body is mounting a defensive response against that stuff. It's pretty much it in a nutshell. Right? So how does it work with psoriasis? Okay. So skin's kind of weird. And I always wonder, I've been studying skin for literally 45 years. Can you imagine this? Since 1980, I've been studying the skin. So I know a lot about the skin. And I always wondered, as a skincare professional, I wonder, what does the average person think this stuff is? Right? What is this stuff? AJ, look at it. Look at your skin, not your arm, but your skin. Okay, not the arm, but the skin. Okay, what is this stuff?
A thing of beauty.
Yes, it is beautiful. That's right. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous.
That's not the right answer.
But what is it though? What is it?
It's an organ.
How is this an organ?
Because it does stuff. It takes stuff in, it
But
keeps
isn't
stuff
it
out.
weird?
It's got
It's a
multiple layers.
It's a weird thing. So here's the deal. The skin is, like you just said, it's made up of layers. The top layer where we put our skin cream on, and by the way, the stupidity of our culture to rub moisturizers and things on top of the skin, it's just mind-boggling. The craziness. Do you know when you put I hate that word, I'm going to go like this, moisturizer on your skin, you shut everything down. You suppress everything. Most of all, you suppress the electrical nature. The skin isn't like all the parts of the body are electrical primarily. Before they're chemical, they're electrical, and you shut down the electricity. It's the worst thing you could do is to put something heavy on the skin. You put something on the skin you want to penetrate, light. That's why I started my skincare company. TruthTreatments.com, by the way. So,
Wait. You have a skincare company?
yeah.
What's it called?
Truth, the truth.
Yeah, but where do we find it?
TruthTreatments.com.
Truthtreatments.com.
Yeah, Google TruthTreatments.com. You're online, right? Google Truth Treatments.
You know I'm familiar with Truth. I want everybody else to make sure they know.
I thought you were kidding. Okay, all right. I thought you didn't know. All right. So anyway, the skin is stratified. It's layered, like baklava, lasagna. The top layer is dead. It's made up of well, first of all, it's made up of dead cells. But these dead cells are hollow. And inside that hollowness, they're like a carcass of a cell. And inside you've got proteins. Those proteins collectively form a coating on the surface of the skin. And that coating on the surface of the skin is why you can go out in the rain and not turn into a puddle. Because the water beads off of it. It drops off, and it comes off. If you put water in your skin now, you'll see it beads off. It's because you have a surface layer of almost like a waxy coating. You ever see a leaf up close that has a waxy coating? Your skin is the same way. It has a waxy coating. And that waxy coating is very important. It's not really wax. There's some wax in there, actually, but it's mostly protein, like fingernail. You have a thin layer of fingernail. Underneath that layer of dead cells and fingernail, you have multiple layers of other cells that are they're dead, but they're sort of in transition. And then you have a bottom layer where the living cells are. So you got living cells on the bottom, and then they rise up to the top and progressively lose their life force until they come to rest at the top where they're dead. They start their life cells, skin cells, start their life at the bottom, and that bottom is called the basal layer, and the base, and the next layer is called the squamous layer. And then collectively you have other layers, strata, the granular, the different names, granular layer and the lucid layer and the spinous layer, the different layers, multiple layers until you come to the very top. Here's the key. The living cells are on the bottom. They're round and plump and juicy. The dead cells are on the top. And the living cells become dead cells over the course of time as they rise to the top. So it's born on the bottom, round and plump and juicy. They rise up to the top, progressively becoming less alive until they lose their life force. They become dead on the top, round and plump and juicy at the beginning, flat and dead on the top, just like people. Round and plump at the beginning, flat and dead at the end. Right? Just like us.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. And so this process is very important. This movement, this transit from the bottom to top, it usually takes about 28 days. As we get older, it slows down, by the way. And it's a very important process because it assures that you'll always have a strong barrier, that the top will always be healthy. It's a constant turnover. As me and you are talking here today, cells are flopping off of our skin and new ones are coming up to replace it when we're healthy. Now, if something interferes with that process, I'll tell you what that is in a minute, but if something interferes with that process, the cells keep going. They don't stop. They just keep going. It's like the sorcerer's apprentice. Just keep going and going and going. Nothing, it ever stops. And eventually you start to get these piles of cells on the top of the skin. It's called a plaque or a lesion, and you say you have psoriasis. Psoriasis is the end result, the manifestation of cells that are moving, that keep going and going and going, they don't stop. You say, what is it that causes this to happen? Why don't cells get the message to stop? Help me out.
You know, it's interesting because earlier tonight you said something about you have to, nutrition will help you. Your body uses energy. Your body uses energy to slow down the process.
Yes, nutrition is important for slowing down the process. So there are nutrients you could use to slow things down, to not just slow them down, but control. It's not just slow, it's controlled. It's regulated. The most important of the regulating nutrients are vitamin A and also vitamin D. Vitamin A especially, and vitamin D. And guess what the two most important nutrients are for treating psoriasis? Vitamin A and vitamin D. In fact, if you go to the dermatologist, that's what they'll give you, vitamin A and vitamin D. Why? Topically, that is. Why? Because they slow down growth. They control the growth. But the problem isn't necessarily going to be solved because you got to ask, why is this occurring in the first place? It's occurring because there's stuff that's getting thrown into the skin from the blood. Remember, the blood is throwing stuff out. Psoriasis is an autoimmune disease, which means the immune system is attacking a part of the body. In the case of psoriasis, the immune system attacking the skin cells. And so the skin cells no longer have the ability to control their growth. So you can use vitamin A and D, but as long as there's toxicity that's interfering with the growth and or control of the growth, you're going to have a problem. Where does the toxicity come from? Exactly. Psoriasis is just another example of polymyositis. It's polymyositis of the skin cell. Or the polymyositis is psoriasis of the muscle. It's the same thing. So what do you do for psoriasis? Number one, you work on your gut. I'm not going to repeat it. It's just the same thing you do for anything else. Diary, eliminate problem foods, fast. The second thing you want to do is you want to patch up the leaky gut because that's how the toxicity got into the bloodstream. So your fucoidan, your collagen peptides, vitamin A. You also want to use your nightly essence to modify dysbiosis, everything we just talked about. It's polymyositis of the skin. Then you want to use nutrients that work directly in the skin cell. Vitamin A and vitamin D are key. Zinc is very important, topically as well as internally. Topical zinc is great for these kinds of conditions. Zinc is very important. Your ultimate EFAs are critical, especially omega-3s for all inflammatory issues, but particularly for the skin. So your ultimate EFAs are going to be important. And then also the sun. And in fact, the sun is so important that there's dermatologists who put you under a sun lamp. The sun is very important for the production of vitamin D. So making sure you get yourself out in the sun. Nobody who doesn't want psoriasis has to have psoriasis. You don't want psoriasis, you don't have to have it. I counseled a gal, I'll never forget this. About 2 or 3 years ago, this gal came into my office and she had the worst psoriasis. I could not believe how bad her psoriasis was. And by the way, psoriasis is associated with heart disease. Psoriasis is associated with other autoimmune diseases. Psoriasis is associated with shortened lifespan because it's that serious. And so this gal came in and she was probably in her 20, 21. Oh my God. I don't know if you've ever seen psoriasis. It was heartbreaking all over her face, all over her body. It was hard to look at. It was painful to even look at. And so I told her everything I'm telling you here. And then I called her up a couple of weeks later to see how she was doing. I checked in and she said to me, "Oh, I haven't started yet. I've been too busy. I haven't done." I was like, "What? You were too busy? You haven't started yet?" And what it showed me was
she didn't care.
It wasn't serious for her. And that's just, I was blown away. And I think I actually got a little mad at her. I couldn't believe that I spent all that time with her. But the point is that if you want it, it's there.
Pharmacist Ben, how do we just to wrap up this psoriasis question? How does she deal with the fungal infection?
Now, the fungal infection, I don't know what she means by if it's a skin fungal infection or it's an internal fungal infection, but just generally speaking, fungal infections are extremely difficult to treat. And the drugs they use for fungal infections are incredibly powerful. This is internal fungal infections. Topical is a little easier because you have access to the fungus, but internal, they're very, very difficult to treat. The best way to treat a fungal infection is to strengthen your bacteria and let them take care of the fungus. In the body, there's a balance, there's a battle between the fungus and the bacteria. The bacteria make things that kill fungus, the fungus make things that kill bacteria. Penicillin comes from fungus. And so you want to support the bacteria's ability to kill the fungus, and you do that through all the digestive strategies, as well as probably throwing in your probiotics, your nightly essence, and then what was the other? There's another probiotic that just came out. I forgot what it's called. Remember?
Well, there's a few. There's the nightly essence. There's the Integris, and now in the women's protocol, they got a really.
That's right. That's right. There's a whole spectrum of them. You can use the Hope. It's called. That's a good product, by the way. My buddy Sanjeev formulated that. I think it's called Hope, right?
It is.
Yeah, and that's a good one too. But I like the nightly essence. Whatever it is, just strengthen the bacteria, and that's the best way to deal with systemic fungal infections. But they're really hard to treat because fungus are designed to thrive under harsh conditions. Fungus have spores, so it's very difficult to get rid of them because the spores are hard and medicine doesn't get through the spores. So it's very difficult to get rid of an internal fungal infection other than to help your body get rid of it.
Interesting. Pharmacist Ben, we have one last serious question here.
Yeah. Yes.
Before my whimsical ones. My name is Randy. I'm 67 on the Easy Pack plus Easy Sugar. Guess he's on the blood sugar pack. He's 210. Low resting blood pressure, 120/80. High resting, 140/90. Under stress can be as high as 150/95. Taking Crestor, Januvia, metformin, I guess that's metformin. High blood pressure for around 15 years. Sugar can go as high as 200 at that time. But now, since they do an A1C a year ago, it's about 7.5. 6 months ago, I started the supplements. My numbers have improved. A1C is now 6.2, 6.3. I have 4 herniated discs. Take tramadol for pain. No longer have a gallbladder. I work out, weights, indoor bike, 30 or more minutes, 6,000 steps a day. Resting heart rate, 65. In a workout, I go up to 130. Recently, I've done some baseline lab work. Calcium is 1,000. It's led to a stress test. The results found I had one blood vessel on the inside of my heart wall that had low blood flow. Said it wasn't a big thing. They gave me metropolol.
What are we dealing? What are we trying to treat?
Blood.
What do you mean blood? Like
so it's all about the blood. Thank you for you know what? Ultimately, he's saying thank you. Prescriptions gotta get the sugar-free candy to give away. You know what? Ultimately, he's just saying thank you. He's improving.
Okay, well, that's good. I like thank you.
Yeah.
If you have any further questions, you should tell me or ask.
I will. Ultimately, he's mentioning he's improving. And Pharmacist Ben, you blew my mind tonight when you said baklava, because I've been calling it baklava.
I might be getting it wrong. Whatever. I don't know. Baklava.
No, it's probably right. Yours sounds more fancy. But Ella George finally showed up. She's watching now. Her and her husband are looking for some help. We answered their question earlier. So, Pharmacist Ben, are you on with us on Friday?
I'm on Friday, and then I will be gone next Monday and the following Friday.
No Ben's Bytes next Monday?
No Ben's Bytes next Monday.
Wow.
You want me to do some short ones, though? You want to do some short little, like, 2-minute videos or something?
I'd love to. I'd love to on topics. And I actually have another idea that I really need to talk to you about.
Oh.
And just to let everyone go. And thank you very much
Before
for being.
everybody goes, I just want everybody to understand we can do this. No matter what your health challenge is, if you're willing to do it, we will help you do it. Me and AJ and Rebecca and all the longevity folks will help you do it. If you want it, it's available to you. And if you're doing the business, we will help you with your customers. We will help you with your clients. And I love talking to doctors. Love talking to healthcare professionals, especially doctors, but nurses, massage therapists, estheticians, acupuncturists, chiropractors. I love talking to healthcare professionals, and I especially love talking to physicians.
Fantastic.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Great to see you, AJ.
Pharmacist Ben, what did you think about the World Series?
Great game. I didn't watch it. I just watched the last game. I didn't watch any other games. It was a great game.
Apparently they got 1.5 times what they got watching the basketball finals.
They got 1.5 times more.
150% viewership.
Wow. Yeah, it was a great series. It was an awesome series. And the game 7 was great. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody.
Pharmacist Ben, you're the man. Have a good one.